They mean protected ones, those who are protected. People of the book, the protected ones. Anderson, there are others who are included. They basically, look, let me tell you something about Islam. It was practical. It conquered the East. It didn't kill the Hindus. You've been to India, 400 years of Islam Mughal rule. They didn't destroy the temples. There was an amazing culture. Then there's some frumak developed that couldn't tolerate Hindu. You see, that's the problem with these texts. The frumaks who grow up, they have things to pull out when they want to, and there's nobody countering them because there's no counter tradition. So it's here. It's a usable text. Yes.
I'm a little bit confused by the idea that Islam history is the unfolding of God.
Excuse me, Islam has what?
Islam is the unfolding of God. And
yes.
The reason I'm confused is because I learned that history is the unfolding of God in Judaism, whereby everything that's happening now is part of the end of days scenario. So isn't that the same thought?
Well, that's what I identified beforehand. Be careful with that. I'm sorry to tell you this. No, I'm sorry. In other words, I don't know anything about end of days. I don't know anything.
Right, but I hear one thing from one group of people, and I hear another thing from another group, and how do I know which group is right? Because you're saying this is the right way, but I can say from a different point of view,
look,
have the same
this is what I can tell you. This is what I can tell you, is that for the most part, I'll quote Heschel to you because I think Heschel was right. Heschel was being interviewed by Carl Stern a few months before he died. I mentioned this the other day, and Stern asked him, "Tell me, Dr. Heschel, what the Jews think about the next world, the end of days?" Right? And Heschel said as follows. It's not always the same thing, but I'll use a story. All right? And Heschel said, "I'm sorry, no one's ever come back from then to tell me anything about it. What we have to focus ourselves in is making this world a better world. You're interested in the end of days? Make this world a better world. You'll have the end of days." That's the lesson that we Jews bring into the world. I think that's the Jewish attitude. I don't want to sound so. There are alternative opinions, but I tell you that makes sense to me. You have a good vision. How are you going to realize that vision in the world? No magic is going to happen. The era of magic is over. You are responsible. All right? So, and when you get into magic, then you'll have the Muslims say, "We are the unfolding of God in the world," and the Jewish, "We are the unfolding of God in the world." And they're going to have a party. They're going to kill each other. That's what people do who want an unfolding of the end of days. You should shake in your shoes when someone tells you it's the unfolding of the end of days. People kill in the end of days. That's what the prophet says. People are going to die for the one truth. That's what we want. We're not interested in that. As a Jew, I'm not interested at all. I'm not even interested in them becoming Jewish. They should be Muslims and be religious Muslims and be peaceful and serve God. That's all I want. Let it be good. And that's the fulfillment of God's dream. No end of days. If you get that, boy, that would be wonderful. If we can get to live alongside each other. I'm sorry I got excited. All right. Now look. And if that's not a good answer, we'll talk afterwards. Okay? Okay. I'm sorry. All right. Now look at text. Look at 4:160 to 162. I mean, look. This is the one hurts me the most. This text hurts me the most. Because of their iniquity, we forbade the Jews good things which were formerly allowed them, because time after time they have debarred others from the path of God. Now, you see that? No. The text, the Quranic text, right there. No, I'm sorry, I numbered it for you. You don't have it numbered it. 4:160, 162. Surah 4:160, 162. What does that mean? Because of their iniquity, I want you to translate this for me. We forbade the Jews good things which were formerly allowed them. What does that mean?
And other things that they committed as a people, they are forbidden the status of the chosen and their place in the world prior to Muhammad.
Oh, that's too far. You're going too far. But you're saying you're right because of that. You're right about the first part. But what is he commenting on? What do Jews have to do to be Jewish?
Kashrut Shabbat.
Right. The mitzvot. So the Quran says, why do Jews have mitzvot?
Punishment.
The punishment. In other words, all this other stuff,
schoolmaster,
right? All of this stuff, apes and swines and all. So that's rhetoric. I can get along, even though it's very dangerous rhetoric. Believe me, when you call people in the Middle East apes and swines, that's a casus belli. You want to kill the person. Swine, Jews, apes, swine. I mean, come on, All right, but let's say the guy was having a bad day, right? And, and he was giving a drasha, and he got carried away in his drasha and he got angry. And he said, oh, hey, all right, you understand that. Right? But this is a fundamental sort of undermining of the basis of Judaism. Jews have Torah and mitzvot because God is punishing them. So it'd be good for you. Right? He says it's a punishment. So, and it's not repeated. It's repeated. So there's something insidious about the teachings of Islam at its heart about the next. Because what? Why does it happen? You see, it's like a window. Understand, it's like an opportunity for you. This is what religions do to one another when they have to compete with one another. That's the point. We were on the scene of the monotheistic religions first. So we did it. The thing is that the people we did it to don't exist anymore. So the Torah is full of this sort of stuff, digging at the pagans. Not, how should I say this? I'll be careful. Not precisely everything that it says about what the pagans did do we have evidence. That's the best way I can say it, that they really did. All right? But when you're trying to say, I'm right and they're wrong, you got to make the other guy look bad. All right? So thank God we developed in a time which is before the history of our history, right? But Islam developed against the background of Judaism and Christianity. It had a problem. Why is it necessary? Why is Islam necessary? God spoke, and they say God spoke through the New Testament and the Old Testament. So why do you need the Quran? Why? What's the answer? Why do you need the Quran?
Because we messed up. Because the Jews and the Christians
Correct.
messed up.
So the Quran is the most perfect of revelations because, and then comes along, or before this comes along, and you have the text on the top of the, we can't read everyone, because the Jews corrupted their revelation. Right? Because they're falsifiers. They kill prophets. I mean, there's a list of 20-odd attributes. The worst attribute that we have is we're arrogant. The Muslims hate rabbis. I take it personally. Why do they hate rabbis? You tell me, why do they hate rabbis?
Because you know the most.
No, right. No, but I mean,
Because you are the
embodiment of corruption.
No, because we choose to correct God's word. That's what interpretation means in this context.
Corruption.
So we have the arrogance. Remember this. We have the arrogance. Jews are arrogant. This is a standard accusation in Islamic literature. It stems from these teachings.
So why weren't they Samaritans?
What, excuse me?
Why weren't they Samaritans?
I don't know. It wasn't too, look, the thing, look, Muhammad Assad got, the point of Islam is that it is simple. You have 5 elements. You devote yourself to those 5 pillars, right? And you're a Muslim, right? And you believe in the world to come and in reward and punishment, sort of basics. That's all. That's what you need. So why do you want to be a Samaritan? Or about Pesach? I mean, forget about this. All right.
But you see, I mean, it seems to me if you define arrogance, if arrogance is defined by interpretation of God's word,
Yes.
and the problem is that there's no tradition of interpretation or mediation of what's in the Quran, and you've got a built-in issue here.
But there is.
There's no construct within which to develop a tradition.
So there is, in the early part, till the 11th, 12th century, remember, and now I'm going to spend 5 minutes on this. Maimonides wouldn't be Maimonides without Islam. Rambam could not have all the sources, not one of the sources, right? Not 2 of the sources. All the sources for the Guide of the Perplexed, he says in his introduction, are Muslim. There's not a single Jewish philosopher that he can quote that undergirds his philosophic thinking. The whole world that we have, the rational world, maybe that's why Judaism rejected Maimonides, ultimately, right? Because his philosophy came from without. That's not such a good sign. And of course, Maimonides writes, and this is, I'm going to make, I still have dreams of putting this up somewhere in Hillel. I want to go to Shema ha'emet mimi shomra. In the introduction to Chilek. Hear the truth from whomever articulates. And he says, I don't always tell you the names of the people that I learned from. Because I know if I tell you the name, you're going to get excited. Because you're not going to want to read it. So don't get excited. Read what they say and evaluate what they say. Al-Farabi, Averroes, you walk in Cordoba today, you see there's a statue of Maimonides in the courtyard there. We were there a couple of, and then around the corner, you walk around, there's a statue of Averroes. I mean, I don't think they met, but they were pillars.